Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 54 of Cameron's Nostalgia Podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Strickland, and today I have with me Kieran Braun. How are you?
Hi, Cameron. It's so good to meet you. It's a very exciting opportunity to get to converse with people who are interested in puppetry and hopefully want to follow that path, and also share my passion with other people, what experiences I've had. So, yeah, it's very exciting to meet you.
Nice. Now, for any of the guys who don't know, Kieran is a puppeteer who works for the Children's Ministry Company.
Um, actually, I don't actually have a children's ministry in mind. I have a company called Kiersval Productions, as what you see. We're in the process of planning productions, puppet productions in the future, yet we're still a little under budget and we still have a lot to go in covering, as well as puppets that could be sold in marketing. You can see some of these puppets here behind me that are um, liable to be sold to market. It's a very um, step-by-step process, but we're getting through as much as possible to where we could do children's ministry, but mostly chose for the secular side.
Nice. Let's begin our first question.
Sure, go ahead, Cameron.
How did you get interested in puppetry?
Ever since I was a small child, I was very interested in puppetry. I remember sitting on my grandfather's lap watching Sesame Street. I also looked at Captain Kangaroo and I saw puppets that were made by a company called Puppets Productions Incorporated. They were done by amateur puppeteers in a video series called Cedarmont Kids. Um, and my mother actually used puppets that were bathtub puppets, so that so that I could understand how to communicate more appropriately. Um, and so, yes, puppetry is a great tool for me to learn how to communicate with others and also to show communication, but also just show um, what goes beyond the extreme with art, just like Jim Henson did. And so, interestingly, I was originally going to be a score composer, thinking of it when I was just a grade school kid, but I realized that I could not write music. I could have an idea for music, and I could write song lyrics and give an idea for what the type of music could be, but I can't write notes. So it wasn't until I saw documentaries like Down at Fraggle Rock or The World of the Dark Crystal that I decided that puppetry should be the path I should take.
Nice. So, what was your first puppetry gig?
That's a very easy question to answer, Cameron. It was back in middle school when I talked about my love for puppetry and interest. I had discussed with my English teacher about the idea of developing a puppet show, and so I wrote this biography called In Search of Jim Henson, and we did it with puppets. Um, I had trained my English school students puppets here, and the host was this character here. Um, Her name is Nola the Eighth. Hiya, Cameron. It's so good to see you. Yeah. So how are you doing in Canada? How's life going?
Good.
Yeah. Um, well, I hope that by the time I become famous and go to Hollywood, that I would be glad to meet many celebrities, and I hopefully will see you in person if I travel to Canada. As I mentioned before, um, she mentioned In Search of Jim Henson. I was been a puppet working for over 20 years with Kieran, and she's he's been such a good support to me, and I really hope that my love and peace for children will spread throughout everyone. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, um, my play was that Nola and the characters that I had originally they were store-bought puppets because I didn't know how to build puppets. But it was puppets telling about Jim Henson. I remember that there were some lessons learned from this experience. Um, when I operated Nola at first, I remember that when she entered, I just had her just raise my arm up and pop up because I thought I saw some characters pop up in front of the stage. That was when I had um, sort of gotten the lip sync idea. Okay, it wasn't until Christmas of that same year that I got this DVD.
Oh,
Yeah,
I had this one.
you do have this one? You do have that? That's awesome. Well, yeah, yeah. He learned about lip synchronization and how to operate a puppet more convincingly. So I'm glad that you're using that DVD too to practice puppetry the right way.
Nice.
Well, I gotta be going now, but if you want to chat with me, please give me a call.
All right, I will.
Bye. Um, so, what other questions do you have for me?
Do you hug Boober?
I did hug Boober in when I was in Fraggle Rock Live along with Gobo. However, if I do happen to see Fraggle Rock Live the next time, my favorite characters in the show were always Monkey Fraggle and Red Fraggle. So I would most likely want to hug those characters as well. In fact, one of my favorite exciting moments was when I visited Dragon Con 2024 and I got to meet the Fraggle Rock puppeteers, John Tartaglia and Donna Kimball and Karen Prell, Jordan Lockhart, Frank Mishkolet, and Kevin Clash. All of them, it was such a great experience, and I hope that um, if they're doing a third season of Fraggle Rock, the reboot, that I would get a tour at the Calgary Film Center if we can plan it out, depending on the budget, um, and get to see a tour of Fraggle Rock Live. Because when I was just 12 years old, I got to visit the set of Sesame Street at Kaufman Astoria Studios, New York. And I visited and I met Carol Spinney, the original Big Bird, and I met Leslie Carrera and Marty Robinson. And I had learned quite a lot about puppet wrangling because there were two wranglers there, Andrea Detweiler and Michelle Hickey. Um, I had started to learn about how they put the puppets together and how the monitors were set up and how the trash can was operated. It was a very fun time there. Um, how about you? Would you like to see some more of my characters?
Sure.
Okay. Now, when I had gotten into the COVID period, I was brainstorming a bunch of characters to come up with. And this one, hello everyone, and hello Cameron. How are you doing today?
Good.
My name is Ruffles G. Doodle. That's Scruffleth. Get it? Scruffleth. I'm a golden doodle. And I am from the Kenneth Be Healthy Aerith clan. I eat healthy foods. Now, you might think that dogs from the Canis familiaris can eat dog foods. Blech. Ugh. I wouldn't even want to eat a slice of pizza. Ugh. Nobody likes slimy, gooey foods if you're a healthy guy. So, what's your favorite food?
Apples.
Ooh, that's a great choice. I love apples too. Granny Smith, to be more precise. Yes, but my favorite food, um, well, I like white meat, like fish and chicken, that sort of thing. I'm really on the way of my diet, and I really love sport. But do you know what my favorite sport is? Playing frisbee. Yes, I just love frisbee. I love jumping and running and ooh, yes. I love dancing. Yes, dancing is one of my favorite things that a dog from the Cannot Be Healthy Earth would do best. Well, I can't spend too much time talking with you, but I'll see you later. Bye.
Yeah. Scruffles was a character that I had built myself, um, and I had presented um, to a conference about autistic puppeteers at the National Puppetry Festival at the University of Maryland, um, where I met Cheryl Henson and Heather Henson. And since Scruffles was a character that I had really loved so much and felt that he had much energy, um, that I could ad lib with him. So that's Scruffles G Doodle. Um, Another character that I built at the same time um, is Tavi the Jackal. Hello there, Cameron. My name is Tavi, and I come from India. Have you ever been to India?
No.
No? Well, it's the world's most famous democracy. And also, it's got very good things to see and learn from the Hindu gods, and also, more importantly, meditation. Do you like meditation? You, okay, well, you sort of like it. Well, it just takes time to get comfortable with it, but it's very good for you, especially in times of stress. Ugh, I really don't like anxiety. Uh, but I really just love children and all the fun things as long as things don't get too much out of hand. Well, I gotta go now. I hope you have a good time. Bye. Um, I have one of my personal favorites as I learned about puppet building um, was when I built in 2023 and presented at a Christmas event. Um, is this full-bodied character here? He was a character where I had learned how to build, how to put feathers on him.
Yeah, my name is Diesel the Bird, and I really just love telling jokes to kids. It just makes me laugh. Hey, I got a joke for you. Uh, what happens if a chicken lays an egg on the roof? What do you get if a chicken lays an egg on the roof?
What?
Egg drop soup. Get it? Egg drop soup? Oh, and I also just love throwing eggs at other people when they don't expect it. Well, I got a lot of more jokes to carry on tonight. I have a conference, so I'll see you soon. Bye bye.
Um, um, Diesel is such a fun character to work with because even though he's silly, he has a soft heart. Um, and, and he can be a little bit more of a coward at times. Um, as you can see, all these characters in the back here are puppets that I sell in different events, and I've sold a lot since COVID. Um, in fact, I have this one right here. This is one of the kinds of UT puppets um, from UT Vols. Um, and I have a specific way of giving a voice to each character. Um, the only female voice that I prefer doing is Nola the Ape's voice. And whenever I do female characters, I really would prefer giving it to um, a female puppeteer. So that is kind of how I go about with my puppets. So, what other questions would you like to ask me?
Are you a Christian?
Yes, I am a Christian. I love Christian puppetry. Um, in fact, I really loved watching Gerbert as a kid. And I actually had a telephone interview with Andy Holmes about the making with this of this production in 2022. He was very great to take it time out of my schedule and talk on the phone. But the best show that I've ever discovered, and you should discover this yourself, I kind of analyze this as a Christian version of Fraggle Rock, Pahapahui Island. Pahapahui Island is a show about a little girl named Allie, along with her friends, who have to sail across the island sea to a place called the Lost City to discover the worlds of the secret book that can enlighten the island again. They enlighten the island with the words of the book. So it teaches children about positive values through Christian beliefs and principles. Um, I recommend that for you. I actually met some of the puppeteers then. Jamie Domeyer was one of them, and Jeff Donkey was another one. So that's a little bit about my interest in Christian puppetry too.
Have you ever met Dave Privet?
No, I have not met Dave Prevet. I saw your podcast on Dave Prevet, um, but I learned a lot about him ever since I studied One Way Street DVDs and as well as his portfolio with Animax and that sort of thing. I talked with Messenger conversations and Facebook posts. I just couldn't tell you how incredible and inspiring he was. Um, I bet you might have had these DVDs too, which I highly recommend for those who are learning how to build puppets, that they should check these out. They could be found on One Way Squared. That's the current version of One Way Street.
I have those too.
That's so great, Cameron. Um, I'm glad that you may have learned how to build puppets from those DVDs.
And you saw Seymour Payne.
Yes, Seymour Payne. The I like that character too. I have another character that I had already completed, but he still needs to have his hat made. Named I can't show him to you yet, but his name is Mr. Spackle. He has kind of a high-pitched voice. You're looking for someone to call for some home improvement? Well, I, Otto Spackle, is at your service. That's what he sounds like. Um, 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 yeah. So go ahead. What do you want to ask next?
Could you show him to me?
Well, I don't have him right away this very minute, but I could send a photograph of him, um, if you would like. Um, would you like to know about like what my first professional gig was?
Yes.
My first professional gig um, was around 2019. A good friend of mine from my college theater group, where I had learned a lot about theater performances and actually participated in four of them, contacted me about um, people at the 80 Players Theater in Houston, Texas, to conduct a workshop on the art of puppetry and also to present a performance um, from that in the George Theater in Houston. So I presented one of my high school productions, a bullying awareness production called Make a Plan, Make a Plan is actually divided into two segments. The first one, Make a Plan, focuses on a girl named Rosie who um, deals with a bully named Roxy with the help of her friends. And the second segment, Different Does Not Mean Less, focuses on a group of individual students who have um, differences and learn that their differences don't limit their potential, and that it is great to be inclusive of one another. I presented that production as well as conduct my workshop on puppet manipulation and puppetry history at 80 Players Theater. And it was such a great experience, and I learned so much from
Nice. And you saw Milo.
No, well, I saw Milo on the DVDs, but I never saw Milo in person. I never saw the any of Dave's creations in person, only on television.
Do you have the Bringing Your Puppet to Life DVD?
No, but I really would like to keep um, mine a secret since there are so many other resources available. I would much prefer um, showing my performances to anyone in workshops in person. Although someday I hope that I would like to create um, puppet DVDs that would train people into um, the art of puppetry and how to get their manipulation skills improved.
Right. So you're gonna try some puppet sitting behind you.
What do you mean by that? Could you clarify that, please? Try some puppets behind me? Oh,
Yes.
oh yeah. Well, this is actually one of the um, marketable puppets that I had built. Um, that is actually sold for markets. This is made for my personal collection, but he started out as as a puppet that was being sold along with a collection back. His name is Scrog the Lion. He said, "It's so good to see you. I hope you get a chance to see me in the market someday soon. Otherwise, I might have to eat your carcass." Blah, 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 blah. And this is a secondary character who actually is a girlfriend for Scruffles G. Doodle, the golden retriever who you met earlier. I can't voice her because I already had planned, um, I have plans to give her to a female performer. Her name is Amber. She's just as excitable and more tomboyish as Scruffles is into his activities, and Scruffles and Amber likes his activities a lot more. Um, but that's Amber. Um, and that's pretty much enough of the puppets I have got today. What about your characters? Who are some of the characters behind your back? I noticed the Kermit puppet, but I want to ask about your original puppets.
There's Reddy behind me.
Okay, ready? That's a cute name. What's he like? What I mean, like, what does he do? What are his hobbies?
He used to be on Churches.
Okay. What's the character next to him? The purple one.
Gosh, I don't know.
Well, it takes a little bit of time to give a name to a character. I always usually develop it right from scratch, right off the bat, I as I draw the character and think of that. Um, I for first of all, for Diesel, he came from a bird that came up into my dorm room on the staircase, and I thought, like, is he kind of joking around? I also kind of like had some dreams of birds pecking on the window, and that was where I came up with Diesel the bird. That's just how I come up with characters. Uh, didn't I tell you that I had volunteered with the Center for Puppetry Arts?
Mm.
Well, no. Well, I'll be glad to tell you. I first came to the Center for Puppetry Arts in 2003, and my first performance that I saw was Dinosaurs. It was just so incredible. And when I got the DVD, I was excited to learn about the person who created these very original educational productions, John Ludwig. I had the very great pleasure to meet John Ludwig in 2014 at a puppet festival in Helen, Georgia. And along with Aretta Baumgartner, they helped me choose um, a college that had liberal arts in it um, as a way for me to try to see if they had courses that could involve puppetry. And so the theater classes were a great chance at my college. But anyway, with the Center for Puppetry Arts, I actually volunteered at a puppet camp that they were doing in 2007, where they were training kids about the art of puppetry. Um, they do that almost every year, every summer. And I also had spent time learning about puppet productions in the present and the past through the archives of the center. Um, and I gotten some backstage tours of some of their shows. Um, but the Center for Puppetry Arts is a great place in Atlanta to check out. You'll get some various ideas, and I hopefully you'll get to meet the new artistic director whom John had bequeathed, a puppet builder named Jason Hines, who had just successfully won an Unima USA program for his Unima USA Citation of Excellence. That is the famous award in puppetry. He won that award for his adult production, Tesla versus Edison. So you ought to check out the Center for Puppetry Arts as much as I did.
And
So do you have any more questions?
you meant the puppets behind your side.
Um, the puppets that are right on this side, well, those are just puppets that I use for marketing. I would have wanted to operate them, but I don't know how to develop the characters. So I couldn't actually operate them because I would usually like to give them to, I usually like to sell them, and then I would have the client ought to try and develop the character themselves.
Have you ever met Dan Weisbrot?
I actually had a phone call with Dan Weisbrod. Dan Weisbrod was the character Millard in Pahapahui Island. And he also worked at Disney World. Yes, I had Facebook conversations with Dan Weisbrod, and I had learned about Pahapahui Island through his character Millard.
And he was also Zuby the Cork in Diddy Diddleworks.
Um, I'm not familiar with that show. Um, did you have an interview with him? Did you meet him?
I did call him.
That's very impressive. I don't know if it's on Cameron's Nostalgia podcast, it but if it is, I look forward to seeing that.
Alright.
Um, So, um, how long does it take for you to actually um, come up? Have you actually thought of coming up with your own shows or other puppets that you had built up recently?
I have made a monster puppet.
A monster puppet. What did it look like? And what was the purpose of that character?
Well, it's yellow with a purple nose and it has a green thingy on top.
Like an antenna or hair?
Hair.
Oh, that's so great. That's so great. That's almost like what I would envision more if I had create monsters, really the abstract Dr. Seussy kind of characters. Um, I mean, like these are characters that are only on a cute side, but I really like the abstract ones best. Um, so, how much time do we have left for you to ask me some more questions?
Have you ever met Snowbird?
I have not met Snowbird. I noticed that you have your Snowbird merchandise. Um, I bet it was very thrilling that Dave Prevent and Steve Pennington got a chance to talk to you. I sped read through those episodes.
You meet Myron Varad.
Maya, who?
Myron.
Oh, Myron the Rat. I never met him, but I saw him on television as well. I just saw your Steve Pennington video. I never met him, but I have discussed with Dave Prevet a few times on Facebook Messenger about him.
So on June 25th, it was Tracy Mick's birth date.
Tracy Mick actually happens to be one of my favorite Disney Floridian puppeteers. Whenever I saw the character Allie on Papahui Island, she I thought it was very special. If you thought of the character Moki Fraggle, or especially my own character Nola, I really love characters who are very innocent and although they are strong-willed, they still have a special tenderness. And so I hope that someday I would be able to work with her or hire her for one of my shows, um, or maybe even get a chance to meet her in person as well. Um, I just learned about her on another podcast interview, and that was very surprising to me. Um, I already know that she also had worked on Disney World projects and Sesame Street as well. What do you know about her? Have you met her?
I just talked to her on my iPhone.
You talked to her on your iPhone. Did you ask her questions about Papa Hui or Disney?
I haven't.
Well, I think that from what I have learned, I really have a lot to share from that show. But it's very incredible that you got to meet, contact Tracy Mick. I've contacted Tracy Mick on Facebook several times, but I hope to meet her in person.
I have Tracy Mick on Facebook.
So do I. Well, I would like to say that I hope that I really loved her career at Disney, and I see that she just started Universal Studios, where she's worked on the animatronic puppets um, for How to Train Your Dragon events at Universal Studios.
Have you ever watched Baby Einstein?
I just saw some clips of it because there was a DVD that was inside the car when my one of my cousins from Alabama was just a baby, and I noticed that Dave Prevet was credited as one of the puppeteers for these bathtub puppets that they had. So I only saw a little bit of that. Um, And I learned that some of those other Baby Einstein puppets were puppeteered by a person named Lee Armstrong. Have you heard of her?
Yes.
Um, well, last year was a very special moment for me. I got to visit her studio, Images in Motion, in Sonoma, and she was just such a sweet lady. Um, I got to visit her studio that her late partner Cam Portigues built. But I first caught her attention not just only on Fraggle Rock, but there was a children's pilot episode that featured two angels um, on clouds playing with pillows. And I thought that was so beautiful. Well, she told me that that production was a pilot episode called The Land of I. Now, that episode was a rare episode to find, but you could see it on my Facebook post. If you look in the video section, you could see those angels, and that is the episode The Land of I. That was back in 1992.
So, Images of Motion made two Baby Einstein videos, World
That's right.
Music and World Animal Adventure.
They also made the Popcorn Park episodes. I met Randall McGee at the 2023 National Puppetry Festival, known for his character Grork, because I had studied Lee Armstrong's work for that show as well, Popcorn Park, and he showed me episodes um, from the Popcorn Park for free just before they were years later, someone loaded them onto YouTube. Have you heard of Julie Dansby?
No.
Julie Dansby used to be a head puppeteer at the Center for Puppetry Arts. What my what we noticed that was that she had an incredibly remarkable control on a lot of the stronger leads that she did at the Center for Puppetry Arts. I met her in person in 2017 at the National Puppetry Festival in Minnesota. And now she works at Disney World as a puppet specialist, just a puppetry coach. Um, she joined Disney World right after working for about 12 years at the Center for Puppetry Arts. She's a very sweet person.
And what is your favorite Baby Einstein video?
I never watched Baby Einsteins. I kind of have matured over the a lot of the preschool stuff, but I do like watching documentaries and seeing old clips again for reference, especially on Sesame Street. Um, but I really like the classic versions of the Sesame Street from the 1970s through the 1980s a lot better. That's my favorite period of Sesame Street.
All right. What else do we have here?
Um, do you have a favorite puppeteer that you have met or want to follow or become admired by, other than Jim Henson?
Dave Privette.
Well, I like Dave Privette too. Um, so um, how um, you got any more questions?
Have you ever watched your favorite Sesame Street episode?
Um, well, I don't know exactly if I have a favorite Sesame Street episodes. I have hundreds of favorite Sesame Street skits and songs. But on the video episodes, my favorite episode was a video called Count It Higher, which showed the portfolio of Chris Surf, the composer who unlike Joe Raposo and Jeff Moss, who did orchestral and jazz, Chris Surf really brought the contemporary side to the music of Sesame Street. Um, and his work really in influenced me, inspired me to the world of music, as well as what my father, he's also a drummer, and my father showed some videos of Jeff Porcaro and Peter Gabriel, and those were very inspirational for me as well when I was just a toddler.
Have you ever got the Gerber video?
I had a few Gerbert videos, but I really feel like I need to sell them over to a Goodwill store since some of them are already being used. And there's a new Gerbert website called Gerbert.tv .com, I think it's called, or Gerbert.tv, and it features a lot of the clips of the children's hymn songs. That was actually my favorite segment.
Okay.
Um, so, do you know what other jobs I do? You want to know what other jobs I do besides puppetry?
You are a lifeguard.
That's right. Um, but in terms of how I actually got to learn about different jobs was when I met a puppeteer named Jim Gamble. Jim Gamble had done marionette productions that I saw when I was a little kid in my music class, and he did shows like Carnival of the Animals and the Nutcracker and Peter and the Wolf and um, Peer Gynt. Um, and I actually got to meet him in his studio in 2009. He said that he used to work as a pilot for Continental Airlines um, for about 12 years. And he still was able to do puppet shows in between flights. But he said that you have to have a different kind of a job in order to make a living, as well as just have um, puppetry experience. Because of budgetary limitations, there are cases where puppeteers do not earn as much, so they had to find other jobs in order to earn enough profit. I have my job of being a lifeguard as well as for selling puppets to make a profit as well. But I also specialize in graphic design. I had an internship at Walters State Community College where I learned about another program, InDesign. I'm used to Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop, but since then I got used to working on InDesign, and it was pretty interesting. I also created posters for the Center for Puppetry Arts um, back in college um, to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the Center for Puppetry Arts. And they're hanging up in the walls of the marketing department at the Center for Puppetry Arts. Um, they had all of the characters that John Ludwig and his team performed at the Center for Puppetry Arts. I drew in Photoshop and had them printed out, and John Ludwig was very impressed with them.
Nice. So, you have a blue monster.
Um, the which blue monster? That one or that one?
The light blue one?
Um, well, what about this one or this one?
This
Uh,
one.
well, like I said, it takes really a good amount of time to develop a character, and um, and unless you have a good script or feel what the character should be, unless you sort of plan everything in your head or write it down on notes, it would become a good character, whether it would be a background character or a minor character or a character that's not quite as important.
And where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Jefferson City, Tennessee, 30 miles east of Knoxville.
All right. So, could you show me some of the puppets behind you?
Um, I really have not given each of these characters names, but I sell them for marketing, as I had told you before. Um, I'd gotten into the point where I had been building puppets, just like Scrog the Lion here that I had showed you earlier. Um, um, After I had gotten to a puppet festival in Minnesota where I had just gotten into a puppetry training workshop by Greg Ballora and Kristen Charney, they taught me how to build puppets from a simple pattern, and I decided to use that puppet pattern to sell puppets to make a living. I had sold them in different local events. And of course, I did show you this one. This is the UT Falls puppet that I made.
Have you ever watched Baby Faith?
Baby Faith? No. What's that show about?
It's how it teaches babies all about Christian stories.
No, I really have not seen that show. I really have an interest of shows that seem to have a lot more um, good quality aesthetics, or where the budget is a bit much higher. Even if the budget is lower, there should be good aesthetics like Gerbert or Quigley's Village. Um, um, I Ever since I had learned about financing and realizing that budget is a very important thing, I really had an interest of hoping to get to the high budgets, even though when you're starting a company, you have to start low budget. Um, in fact, Jim Henson had to start low budget when he did Sam and Friends.
And have you ever watched Baby Signs?
No, and I have no interest in seeing that either. Um, it's really been a great pleasure talking with you, but I think it's time that we have to end this conversation. I had a lot of fun sharing my passion for puppetry with you, and I really hope that this channel makes out for other people who are interested in puppetry. Um, Good luck as you try to continue following your path in the puppetry field, and I hope to chat with you again someday soon.
I need to say goodbye to the puppet characters.
Oh, you would like the puppeteers, some of the puppets to say goodbye? Hello, this is Tavi. I just wanted to say thank you so much for allowing me to become a part of the conversation at Cameron's Nostalgia Podcast. Bye. Um, okay. And yeah, I do agree. See you later. Bye. Uh, Robert, 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 Robert. Goodbye. See you later, alligator. And remember, always try to work out your routine so that you can be healthy and happy. Bye. Um, Yeah, well, thank you. That's all the goodbyes from some of my favorite puppet characters. I appreciate you chatting with me.
Well, Kieran, thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome, Cameron.
Is there anything
Thank you.
else you'd like to say?
No, I don't have any. No, neither of them do they have anything to say for the time being. Take care.
Nice. Stay tuned for there'll be more guests coming up. Until next time, peace.
Yes, peace. Bye.